Dennis, this is Roger Riedmiller of Lori on the Line. How can I help you? Dennis, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
What's your question?
Basically, my question, I worked for a company here in Hutchinson, Kansas, a roofing company, and when I worked for them, I didn't know that they did not have workman's compensation at the time when I started working for them. Doing a roof downtown, basically, I fell off of a roof about 1 story down. It took them all of about an hour to come and get me, take me to a place to get medical treatment here in Hutchinson. I went and got medical treatment, have documentation of the fact that I had a torn muscle in my leg, these kinds of things, documentation on that. About 10 days off of work is what the doctor recommended. I did what they recommended, went back to work. Suddenly my boss had a different attitude with me. The employees had a different attitude with me. About 5 days later, my boss found some unpronoun reason, ungodly reason to fire me from the job, and basically was fired from the job by him. Was not willing to pay me for my work that I had done. Also, and then when I confronted him, also coming back to work after being off from workman's comp, what I thought was workman's comp. He tells me, we don't have workman's comp. Our company doesn't have that. You're not going to be compensated for the days that you had to take off of work for healing, these kinds of things. There was no kind of compensation whatsoever. I fell a roof down. I fell, like I said, a story down off of a ladder. It was all documented. There was even a guy that had came and helped me. I've got his name and all these kinds of things. I've never pursued this until now recently. My wife was talking to me about it and said that maybe we should look into this kind of a situation.
How long ago did the accident happen?
Let's see. This would have been in November of this last year.
But there's no question in your mind that the employer knew or had notice of this accident?
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
There's no question your boss, the owner of the company, knew about this accident?
No question.
And there's no question you're an employee of this company. You're not an independent contractor, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, Dennis, you've listed a number of legal problems that you have, but also legal problems that perhaps this employer has. Number one, the fact that they don't have insurance, workers' compensation insurance coverage doesn't prevent you from making a work comp claim against them, and the state workers' compensation insurance fund stepping in or being required to step in to provide insurance coverage to you for this workers' compensation claim. So the fact that they don't have work comp coverage doesn't necessarily prevent a work comp claim. Secondly, if they terminated you as you've described it without good reason and apparently because of you having been injured on the job and missing work, that could be a wrongful termination claim or suit that you have against this employer. Thirdly, if you're owed wages that you indicated in the course of your story here, they've refused to pay you wages that you worked, you have a wage and hour complaint that can be made and should be made against them for failure to pay the wages that you worked, or the hours, excuse me, that you worked that caused you to earn the wages you're entitled to. Lastly, if the employer isn't covered by workers' compensation insurance coverage, they're subject to prosecution under Kansas law, and if they're required to have work comp coverage, and based upon what you're telling me, it sounds like they would have been required to have workers' compensation coverage, and so they may be in hot water for failing to have comp coverage under the fraud and abuse statute in the state of Kansas. Dennis, you need to see a workers' compensation lawyer right away because you have a number of problems that need to be addressed and pushed in order for your rights to be properly exercised. All right? Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate the phone call.